Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to the live stream. We're going to go over like a complete guide to the 1 meal a day diet, the OMAD diet. I've been doing the OMAD diet on and off for years. Actually, every Sunday I follow the OMAD diet. So we'll go over like all the pros and cons. Then I'll give you some exact examples of some meal plans and things you should follow. So I appreciate everyone for showing up. If you have any questions, please ask your questions. And this should be a lot of fun. Also, I've been forgetting to say this, but also let me know where you're from if I don't know who you are. It's kind of fun to see who shows up for these live streams all over the world, which is kind of fun. And also, if you're enjoying the live stream, make sure you share it, give me a thumbs up, and then YouTube will put it out there a little bit more. Okay, so let's jump right into it. I'm assuming everything looks good and sounds good. Any issues, let me know. That's great. We got Chris is here. Chris from Texas. Sounds great. Oh, thanks, Chris. Sounds good. Okay, let's jump right into it. Okay, so what is the 1 meal a day diet? Abbreviation for 1 meal a diet is called OMAD, like OMAD, standing for the 1 meal a day diet. So, it's pretty self-explanatory. And what it is, before we go over exactly what it is, let me talk about exactly what we're going to cover again. So we're going to go over what the 1 meal a day diet is. Then we'll go over all the benefits of only eating 1 meal a day. Then we'll go over the pros and cons, because it's definitely not for everyone. It's a pretty aggressive diet. Then we'll go over the best time to eat if you're only going to eat 1 meal a day. Then we'll go over some of the best practices, like how I think the best way to do it is. And then we're going to talk about like a modified version of the 1 meal a day diet, which I think is a much more better, like long-term strategy. You're going to see when I go through this presentation that I do think the OMAD diet is great, but it is more of a short-term strategy. I don't think it's something you should do every single day for an extended period of time. And then we'll go over some OMAD hacks, like some things I think you should do that'll make it easier for you, that'll make you less hungry, that'll just be easier to get through it. And then we'll give some exact examples of specific meals that you should be eating or following when you're doing the OMAD diet. Let's see what we got. Oh, Alexandra's back. Hey, thanks for showing up. Cool. That's great. We got Jeff from Texas. Great, Jeff. Thanks for showing up again. Patel is here from the UK, watching from London. Really cool. That sounds good. I'm sorry I was a little bit late again today. I've been fooling around with these contacts, and I have all these different... I'm trying to figure out what's the best contacts for me to wear, whether it's like... I have all these different prescriptions for them, and I put the wrong ones in. I couldn't see the screen, so I had to go quickly change my contacts. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's go. So what exactly is the 1 meal a day diet? Kind of like what it sounds. It's a diet where you're only eating 1 meal per day. And it could be done, that's why I put in this slide, I put IF or TRE, meaning it could be done with intermittent fasting, meaning that you're doing it intermittently, not every day. Or you can do the OMAD diet every single day. And I would call that time-restricted eating or time-restricted feeding. Oh, from Egypt. Wow, cool. That's amazing. Thanks for showing up. Incredible. Florida. I had Deborah from Florida. Very cool. That's great. I love Florida. Okay. So you can do it intermittently. You can do it every single day, right? And I would say the most common type of OMAD of 1 meal a day is the strict type, where you fast for 23 hours and then you take in all your calories within a 1-hour eating window. And that's probably the most common way to do it. And we're going to talk about the pros and cons of doing that like in great detail in this presentation. And the other thing about the OMAD diet, I think why it became so popular, is people like it so much because they can really pretty much eat. I don't recommend this, and we're going to go talk about that too. They can pretty much eat whatever they want. Like people who just like cannot change their diet, can't get rid of their trigger food, want to just have like a whole binging type meal. I shouldn't say the word binge, but just have a really big meal. That's why I use that picture of the hamburger as my as the thumbnail, for this presentation. A lot of people like the OMAD diet because they get to still eat a lot of their favorite foods. But since they're only eating within a 1-hour eating window, they're in like a good calorie deficit for the day. So it really works well for people like that who still don't really want to change their diet. And you will be in a good calorie deficit when you only give yourself a 1-hour eating window. And it's interesting because I made a little note here that you'll always do better, but just keep in mind, and we're going to talk about that in great detail, you'll always do better with all of these intermittent fasting strategies when you're eating healthy. And I'm going to explain exactly what I mean by eating healthy. And I just want to tell a quick story too. Essentially, I had a client this is like literally, maybe I told this story before years ago. I had a client maybe literally 25 years ago, probably before my kids were born. And this is before I was really into intermittent fasting and time restricted eating. I was just into, healthy eating, more like bodybuilding style of eating. And I had this client who went to like a weight loss psychologist. And what this psychologist told him was pretty much the OMAD diet. She told him you can only eat once a day, but you have like a 1 hour eating window. And at the time, I thought it was absolutely crazy, because back then the whole thought process and even the research was indicating, you eat multiple times during the day. This is like 25 years ago. But he lost 25 pounds in about 6 months doing this 1 meal a day diet. And I actually trained him and his wife. It was kind of funny because his wife would tell me, Mike, you won't believe it. We actually go out to dinner with like another couple. And, my husband will order everything. He calls the waiter over, says, it's 8 o'clock. I have to be done eating by 9. I want my appetizer. I want my main course. I want my dessert. Just bring it to me right now. It was really affecting their social life, but it was really funny, but it really worked for him. So it's kind of interesting. So you can kind of eat whatever you want, but I'm going to try to talk you out of doing that, as this presentation goes on. Okay, so let's go over some of the benefits. Hey, Rose is here from New York. Sorry I'm late. Well, I'm glad you made it, Rosie. That's great. Okay, so let's go over some of the benefits. The biggest benefit by far, no question about it. And I have to say, even though I do believe in all the hormonal benefits of fasting and things like that, the biggest benefits to intermittent fasting, time-restricted eating, is that you're restricting calories. It's an easy way to eat less. That's my main takeaway when it comes to all these fasting strategies. And the OMAD diet is such a great way to restrict calories. Just like that story I told about my client, even though he was eating dessert and an appetizer and his main course within 1 hour, he was used to eating so many times during the day that he was probably in an aggressive calorie deficit just eating 1 meal a day. So that's the biggest benefit. You get into a calorie restricted state without necessarily counting your calories, which is great. And then there are the hormonal benefits. There's that insulin-glucagon relationship that I've talked about in the past, meaning that when you're in a fasted state, when you're fasting for 23 hours, insulin levels low. Well, insulin is the storage hormone. When insulin levels are high, it's really difficult to dip into like body fat and dip into stored energy to burn it. You're in storage mode. So when you're fasting for 23 hours, insulin is low, and then glucagon, which is like the inverse hormone. Glucagon is the hormone that like releases blood sugar. If your blood sugar gets too low, glucagon will be released to increase your blood sugar. So and basically is some people will even call it the fat burning hormone. It helps release fat. It basically opens the door for energy to be released so you can burn it out. So that's what you want when it comes to losing weight. You want low insulin, you want high glucagon. The worst would be the opposite. Insulin high, glucagon low. Really difficult to burn fat. So that's one of the big benefits of fasting for 23 hours. Another big benefit too, and this kind of depends on whether you are eating healthy or not. Like if you're eating like that client I just explained, where you're really eating a ton of carbohydrates and maybe not eating healthy, eating desserts and junk foods and things like that, you probably will not get into a mild state of ketosis with a 23-hour fast. You may or may not, it really depends. But if you're eating healthy and you like don't eat for 23 hours, you're probably going to be producing some ketones. Like if you're not familiar with the term ketosis and ketones, you may have heard of the ketogenic diet. All that means is that when you eat like a really, very low carb diet, like carbohydrates stored in the muscle and the liver in the form of glycogen, right? When the liver gets very, very low on carbohydrates, right, it will start burning body fat. That means like for example, body fat will be converted into ketone bodies, and you'll be burning those like beta hydroxybutyrate. It gets a little confusing, but it's almost the optimal fat burning state. And like me myself, since I eat a relatively low carb diet, and my philosophy, and you're going to see as I go through this presentation, is moderate to low carb. That if I fast for 23 hours, I'm in a mild state of ketosis for the last few hours for sure. So that is a big benefit, and there are some health benefits. It's good for cognitive. There's just a lot of good benefits to being in a state of ketosis. I don't think it's something that I wouldn't do indefinitely, like for years on end, but I like to dip in and out of ketosis. So when I do my OMAD diet on a Sunday, I'm probably in ketosis for the last few hours of the day, most likely. I used to test it, but I haven't tested it because I've been eating relatively low carb all day. I take a fasted walk right after I do this presentation. Maybe I'll break my fast today 4 or 5 o'clock with one really big meal, maybe a 2-hour feasting window, and I probably was in ketosis right before then. So that's another benefit. Another benefit is autophagy, which is somewhat debatable. I talk about this a lot too. Autophagy is, some people fast just for autophagy, even if they don't want to lose weight, is the body's process of recycling like weak and damaged organelles. Like you go into repair mode. And a lot of people feel that the longer you fast, the more you upregulate autophagy. Kind of hard to say, when it's upregulated the most and when you reach a point of diminishing returns. But pretty much, it's debatable. A 16, 18-hour fast, will that upregulate autophagy significantly? Maybe not. But once you start getting into that 22, 23 hours or so, I think you probably get a little bit of an upregulation of autophagy, which is really nice. Okay. Also, the other benefit of the OMAD diet is it's such an easy diet to follow. I've had clients who just cannot change their diet and they want to lose weight. And I just tell them, eat one meal a day, like even if it's just like 2 or 3 days a week, it's going to put them into a calorie deficit for the week and they're going to start losing weight. So it's such an easy diet to follow if you don't want to change how you're eating for sure. But like I say, I'm going to keep on saying this. You will always do better though, no question about it, if you clean up the diet at the same time. And the nice thing, like I said, it can be done intermittently, 1, 2, 3 times per week, or you can do it every single day if you want to lose weight really quickly. And you may have even seen some of those like Facebook. There's one Facebook group that I'm a member of. It's a big group, has like tens of thousands of members. The before and after pictures of people who follow the OMAD diet and only eat one meal a day, they do it like time restricted eating for extended periods of time. Like the transformations are mind blowing. Like you see people dropping 50, 100 pounds. Just incredible, incredible. Okay, let's go to the next one. Let's talk about some of the cons because I want to be so positive because it is an aggressive diet to follow. I think the biggest con for sure is if you have an eating disorder, right? If you're a woman who's pregnant because the body would prioritize being pregnant and you don't want to mess things up like that. It takes a lot of energy, right? If you're kids, I get so many young people texting me and emailing me and leaving comments saying they want to try all these different intermittent fasting strategies. And I always really try to talk them out of it. If you're a young person, you're even a teenager, you're still growing. You don't want to be low in vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. And you'll see as we go through this, the biggest con for me when it comes to the OMAD diet is that if you do it every single day, it's very difficult to take enough protein, vitamins, and minerals, nutrients long term. You can do it short term for a few weeks, or maybe you can do it intermittently, but to do it every single day for like months on end, I don't think it's a great diet. Hey Alexander, thanks a lot. Thanks for the super chat. Let's see, you have a question here, Mike. I'm considering joining a gym and doing resistance training, but I don't want to get big muscles. Any thoughts? Yeah, Alexandra, I wouldn't be concerned about it at all. Actually, you will look at it like this. That's what resistance training does do. That's why women are so concerned about it, because like when you lift weights, when you do resistance training, yes, you're making your muscle cells larger, right? But hopefully, you'll be losing body fat at maybe even a faster or quicker rate than you would be putting on muscle, so your actual size will decrease, right? But I wouldn't do excessive like hypertrophy type resistance training, okay? Meaning that I wouldn't do like high volume training like a bodybuilder would do, like I would do. Like I wouldn't do multiple sets of the same exercise. Like when it comes, what I would do is you want the benefits of resistance training because you want to increase your muscle mass, right? You want to increase your metabolism. You want to look firm and shapely. Like you want to have the body, a visual appearance of the body you want. You want good bone, ligament, tendon strength. When you get older, longevity is so linked to people who have a greater muscle mass. When you're in your 70s and 80s, you're going to live longer and be more physical. But I wouldn't do a hypertrophy type training, meaning that I would do like 1-2 sets, create a response, move on. Like don't spend an hour in the gym pumping up your body. Like when it comes to your legs, like do like 1 set of squats, 1 set of lunges. If you're going to do a circuit, don't do multiple sets, because you can train in a way that will make you more muscular hypertrophy, or you can train in a way where you can increase your muscle mass and increase your strength without over volumizing the muscle cell. And then another thing I do, I wouldn't like pound carbohydrates post workout, because that'll volumize the muscle cell a little bit too. So I would do like a 30-minute resistance training routine, maybe 2 or 3 times per week increase your muscle mass, increase your bone strength, increase your ligaments, tendon, you know, make yourself more firm and hard and shapely, increase your metabolism, but don't overdo it. And if we'll talk, you know, I can even do I've been wanting to do a live stream about that. Like, you know, comparing like different types of training, like if you're training for strength, if you're training for hypertrophy, things like that. Well, I'll do one in the near future that hopefully will be really helpful for you. And hey, Gwen, thanks for showing up. Mike, can you approve me for the Facebook group? Oh yeah, sure. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize you requested that. Okay, I'll look for your request. You know, I'm not great on Facebook on how the whole thing works. They change it every single day. And but I'm assuming you're talking about the time restricted eating group, because I'm going live on 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂 Fitness, just 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂 Fitness, which you don't have to join. And then I have people who purchased my course. I have like a separate group for that, which is like a low carb intermittent fasting group. I hope that helped you out, Alexander. But I wouldn't be worried about it. And just think about it. If you slightly get bigger in a part of your body that you don't like, you can easily cut back. But I wouldn't worry about it at all. You don't really have the testosterone and the hormones like a guy would to get too big, you know, muscles. I wouldn't worry about it at all. Okay, so we talked about it's not for everyone, the OMAD diet, not for kids, not for pregnant women, not for people with eating disorders, you know, for sure. Okay. And this is a big thing, like I said a little bit earlier. Okay, if you do it every single day, time restricted eating, okay, you might not be taking in enough calories, protein, and good nutrition long term, and that's a real big one for me. That's why I truly think if you want to do the OMAD diet, the one meal diet every single day, the traditional way, and I'm going to give you a modified version later on in this presentation, where then you probably could do it every day. It's really difficult to take in enough protein. You know, you got to eat like 100 grams of protein, and there is some point of diminishing returns with how much protein you can eat in a meal. I know there are some studies that say you can eat like 100 grams, 80 grams on the OMAD diet, and it works just as well as breaking it up. But I like to take in 150 grams. I wouldn't eat 150 grams of protein in one meal, and I think I'd need that with all my resistance training, everything I do. Also, it's hard to get in enough fiber. It's hard to get enough vitamins and minerals, nutrients, potassium, magnesium when you're only eating one meal a day within a 1 hour eating window for extended periods of time. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Even fiber, plus you just, like I noted on point number 5, people get bloated if they try to overdo it. Like say they want to eat 100 grams of protein. They eat like a 16-ounce piece of salmon, a 16-ounce steak. They also want to get 30 grams of fiber if they're eating healthy. That's why people who generally do like this like strict OMAD don't really change their diet too much. It's easy to eat a lot of like empty calories within a 1 hour eating window, right? Like a lot of bread, pasta, rice, grains, like things like that. But when you're eating healthy, it's really difficult, I think, to do it long term. And there's something also called metabolic adaptation, meaning that whenever you lose weight and whenever you get smaller, your metabolism slows down. And it's a normal thing because you're not as big a person. You don't need as many calories to survive like that. Your metabolic rate slows down as you lose weight. But if you're doing the OMAD diet, and I've seen both extremes. Some people do the OMAD diet and just like eat whatever they want. Other people try to eat really healthy, and I find they're eating nothing. You know, like they're eating 800 calories. And it's really, like I said, it's hard to take in enough vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. It's hard to take in enough protein. And you can over-exaggerate that metabolic adaptation from just going so low calorie, extreme low calorie for extended periods of time. And there's some great studies done on that show, The Biggest Loser, which I never really liked, on how they kind of like really messed up their metabolisms by doing like an excessive amount of exercise and extreme calorie restriction for extended periods of time. And, you know, it damaged their metabolism for like years later. And a lot of people obviously gain back all the weight. So keep that in mind. That's why I do think it's a great intermittent strategy. But if you want to do it every day, I'm going to give you a modified version of the OMAD diet. And then also, like I said, some people still keep eating their trigger foods and their bad foods. So they never really learn a way how to eat correctly in like a sustainable, manageable way. And it's really difficult for you to say to yourself, you know, I'm going to eat one meal a day for the rest of my life. Come on, it's kind of crazy, right? So we're going to talk about that and how I think like the best way of doing it is. Oh, Blue Sky is here too. Great, cool. Oh, thank all the best. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. And I keep on seeing all these thumbs up, which is really nice. I kind of appreciate it. You know, so I hope I'm not missing any of the comments too. So I'm looking at my phone at the same time as well. Okay, so this is a big one. This is kind of like my new thing when I'm kind of hot on. Like, when is the best time to eat if you're only going to eat one meal a day? Whether it's done intermittently, whether you're doing it every single day. And I'm going to give you my whole talk about the circadian rhythm, which I'm so into. Like, your circadian rhythm is your body's 24-hour internal clock, which regulates like everything, all your hormones, right? Your genes. I mean, all these different reactions in your body is regulated by that 24-hour clock circadian rhythm. Like, the time of day in which you wake up, like as soon as sunlight hits your eyes, it like jump starts your whole body, your whole system. Everything starts moving. That's why it's so important. I keep on talking about it constantly, to get sunlight first thing in the morning. I mean, not as soon as you wake up, but say before 9, 10 o'clock. Get some sunlight. Get outside without sunscreen on, without your sunglasses. It kind of jump starts your circadian rhythm. The more light and sunlight you get during the day, the better you're going to sleep at night. And another guy who like drives this point home so much, and it's my favorite podcast. I talk about it all the time. 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂 Labs. Check out the podcast. It's incredible. I just listened to one now. I was walking yesterday on headaches and everything. It was really incredible. So, so the time in which you wake up, the time in which you go to sleep, the time in which sunlight, hits your eyes, the time in which like the sun goes down and you're exposed to blue light, all the different things. And big one too is the time of day in which you eat. And it does seem like all the new research, all the recent research based on circadian rhythm and also protein, like when you take protein, is indicating that if you can eat earlier in the day, like taking your protein, taking calories early in the day, it's better for your circadian rhythm because it kind of jump starts just like sunlight jump starts. And it's also better for maintaining and increasing your muscle mass. So people who do the OMAD diet, and I fall into this too, if you're like fasting all day, and then like you have your one big meal at 8 o'clock at night, I really don't recommend it for multiple reasons. First of all, from everything I'm saying here for circadian rhythm, plus there's so many studies and so much research saying it's not good to eat late at night. You want a minimum of 3 hours, if not longer. So if you can, I would say if you're really going to do the OMAD, especially if you're going to do it long term, do it as early as you can, your one meal. Doesn't have to be first thing in the morning, but try to do it midday in the afternoon. It really is better for everything, if you can do it. But hey, like everything, sometimes I even ignore the research. Like, it took me a long time to come around to early time restricted eating. Like, I was always a 16-8, an 18-6, a 20-hour fast, 4-hour eating window, and I would keep on changing that up all the time, but I always skipped breakfast. Every time I tried to eat breakfast, I didn't like it because I wanted to like eat dinner with my kids at night, and I wanted to eat dinner with my wife when she got home from work. But in the last few months, I did switch over to more of an early time restricted eating, schedule. I do like it. It fits into my life better now because my kids are away at school. I do feel a little stronger in the gym. I have to say, I even think I increased my muscle mass a little bit doing it, taking in protein earlier in the day. But the main thing is, I do think those other strategies work too, and every now and then I'll do it. Like recently, I just did a short video where I did skip breakfast, and I did a classic 16-8, where I ate from like 11 to like 7. The main thing is these strategies reduce calories. That's the main thing. So even if you can't, take your calories in earlier in the day, you still will get tremendous benefit, I think, just having dinner. But try not to do it at 8 o'clock. Try to do it at like 6. And then give yourself multiple hours to digest all your food, because it's going to be a big meal. So I just want to drive home the point that try to take in your calories as earlier in the day as you possibly can. Whether you're doing OMAD, whether you're doing 18-6, whether you're doing 16-8, whatever intermittent or time restricted eating strategy you're doing, try to take in calories earlier in the day. Okay, so that would be the takeaway from the best time to do it. And this is a hard rule. I think 2 hours is even too little. I would say 3 hours is the minimum. Okay, how many calories do you have? Me personally, see, I'm constantly cycling my calories. And I do go by that general rule. I do like 10 times your body weight is a pretty good calorie deficit. And then 15 times your body weight is probably maintenance calories. I eat probably 2,000 calories. 2,500 calories is a high day for me, but I'll go down to 15 from time to time. Like today, I'm doing the OMAD. I'll probably be around 1,100 in like one big meal. But I'm going to talk about even with the OMAD, how even though I may only eat one meal a day, it's kind of a feasting meal. So I'll have my main meal, but then I'll have maybe like a Greek yogurt with some blueberries and ground flaxseed on top, and I may even eat some walnuts along with it, to up that one meal. But calories, you know, it's hard to figure. It's hard to. You got to experiment with calories. Even if you're looking them up and you use like one of those like calculators online to try to figure out what your calorie expenditure is and whatever. You still got to figure. You got to fool them. I like that rule: 10 times your body weight deficit, 15 times your body weight for maintenance. Unless you're like, it's interesting. A couple of MMA guys have been following me on TikTok, and they've been asking me a lot of questions on calories. Just think of a guy who's doing MMA training 4 hours a day. He's burning like an insane amount of calories. At 15 times body weight, he may be in a deficit. So, you know, you have to really kind of figure it out for yourself based on what you're doing. Okay, so let's go over some of the best practices you can do on the OMAD diet. And this is like traditional 23-1. Okay, like I said, good short-term strategy. If you want to do it every single day, once again, be careful. I'm repeating myself a little bit. Like we talked about metabolic adaptation, taking enough protein, fiber, potassium, magnesium, and just general nutrition. That's why I think if you're going to do it every day, don't do it too long. Okay, so that would be a big takeaway. I mean, you can do it for a month, maybe 6 weeks, drop a ton of weight, and then maybe do it intermittently. Okay, excellent long-term strategy, once or twice per week, low-calorie days. See, I love that. If you want to do it long-term, let's say you want to lose 10 pounds in 2 months, you can do it once or twice a week. It's a great way to keep calories in line, for sure. Okay, and it always works better if you improve the quality of your diet. And I love this moderate carb, whole natural food diet with adequate amount of protein and fiber. You know, the 3 things I keep on driving home. Like if you want to be an optimal weight, the 3 things you got to focus on. Number 1 is calories. Like we just talked about, you know, you got to keep calories in line. You got to be in a calorie deficit, you know, to lose weight. Number 2, you want to take an adequate amount of protein for multiple reasons. First of all, if protein has the highest satiety, and whenever you're taking your protein, you're pretty much taking along fat with it. You know, like salmon and you know, animal proteins, even things like avocados and eggs and things like that. So it's incredibly satisfying. Plus, protein has the highest thermic effect, meaning that whenever you eat protein, you're going to burn up 30% of those calories just digesting and processing the protein. So it kind of like boosts your metabolism, right? So calories number 1, protein number 2, and then number 3, I always like to throw in fiber. Because if I tell some people, you know, when I talk about my diet, my eating philosophy, people ask me, Mike, how much fat should I eat? How much? I say if you're tracking calories and then you're tracking an adequate amount of protein, plus you want to maintain your muscle mass with the protein, right? And then you throw in fiber and say, you know, try to eat 35 grams of fiber a day. That guarantees me that you're eating healthy foods. That means you're eating vegetables, you're eating some fruits, right? But if you, for example, if you start eating junk food like processed foods or cookies, cakes, or chips and things like that, it's going to put the calories way too high. You won't be able to do it. But if you're eating an optimal amount of calories, whether you want to maintain or lose weight, right? Eating an adequate amount of protein, and my general formula is 0.7 grams times your body weight. It's a great way to go by that. And then you're taking in 35 grams of fiber, if not more. It's a home run. You're eating healthy. So if you can do this OMAD diet, right, and stick to that, see, it would be difficult probably to take in, you know, maintenance calories and enough protein and enough fiber if you're doing 23-1 every single day. That's why I think it's only good short term. But if you only did that once or twice a week, and those are like 2 low calorie days, and then you ate great the rest, it's a home run. It's a killer. Okay, so as I said, track calories, track protein, track fiber. Those are my 3 favorite things and simplest ways to eat healthy and maintain an optimal weight. Let's see what we got. Okay, is 16-8 really sustainable? Is there any side effects in the long term if you adapt to it for a lifestyle health? No, I personally think you can do 16-8 indefinitely for the rest of your life. Just think. I don't think a 16-hour fast is going to hurt anyone, unless you're like a kid growing, unless you're someone with an eating disorder, you know, unless you're pregnant. If you're pregnant, I wouldn't do that. Or even trying to get pregnant, I wouldn't do that. But I think within an 8-hour eating window, you can take in 3 great meals if you want to. You can take in, you know, 50 grams of protein 3 times a day, right? You can be in a calorie deficit with a 16-8 if you're keeping an eye on calories, or you can be at maintenance calories, right? Or you can even be in a positive energy balance and put on muscle and be working out like crazy, and you're still getting the benefit of being in a fasted state for 16 hours, which is lowering insulin, increasing your insulin sensitivity, is that insulin-glucagon relationship. I think it's a great long-term sustainable diet, 100%, and that's kind of what I do. I'm a 16-8 guy most of the time. 2 meals, too mad. You maybe hear me repeating myself, plus a protein shake because I want to keep my protein up. And then Sunday, I like to just do a low-calorie day just to keep my calories in line for the whole week. I do the OMAD diet like we're talking about today because I generally will have a cheat day or maybe eat too much at least like one day during the week. Like last night I went out with some friends. We went to like an Italian restaurant. I did order something healthy. I ordered filet of sole, but I ate the pasta. I had a whole bunch of bread. I had one glass of wine, with dinner, besides eating normally during the day. So I was way over maintenance probably yesterday. So today that I'm doing an OMAD day, I'm going to be, it kind of evens things out for me. It's a low calorie day for me, which is great. Hey, guitar, this is good. Okay. The Slim Fast count on as OMAD. I mean, I think Slim Fast is fine. I think you can probably pick a better protein powder or meal replacement powder, something that's probably a little bit higher quality. I haven't looked at Slim Fast in a long time, but many years ago when I looked at it, maybe, who was that like? Who was, I think it was the coach of the Dodgers. I forget his name. Was it Ray? I forget his name. When he was doing it, he lost all that weight maybe 20 years ago. I think the Slim Fast diet was like 2 shakes and like a normal dinner. I would call that, it depends when you're having the first shake, when you're having the second shake, when you're having dinner. If you're just throwing a shake at the end of dinner, just to up your protein within your 1 hour eating window, it could be OMAD. But I think you can probably find like a higher quality protein powder. Like I love Garden of Life, either plant or whey protein, and get more nutrition than go with a Slim Fast. When I looked at it years ago, I think it was like a milk protein with a lot of like artificial things, but maybe it's better now. I'm not sure. Okay, what are your thoughts on Slim Fast and Slim Fast products? Meal replacement. Yeah, I know. Like I said, I got to look at it. I haven't looked at it recently, but when I looked at it many years ago, it wasn't of the highest quality, but I'm sure maybe it's changed. Like I like a whey protein isolate. It has all the non-essential amino acids. Everything is stripped out of it. And I like it when it's from Ireland, when it says real dairy on it. And if you go to my Amazon page, my call on Amazon, you'll see the protein powders that I like. And Garden of Life is one of my favorite brands. There's some other good ones too, but that's probably one of my favorites. Okay, thank you. I've been following 16-8 for 3 years. Now I'm 41. Going to keep it going. Thanks again, Coach. I appreciate it. No, I think you can definitely do 16-8 indefinitely, as long as you're taking in enough good quality food. And you really can easily with a 16-8. With an OMAD, I don't think you can long term. So I'm going to keep on saying the same thing. Good to do intermittently. If you're going to do it long term, if you're going to do it every day, good short term strategy to just drop weight quickly. But then I wouldn't stay on it for too long. A few weeks. Okay, so we did all best practice. But this is my favorite. This is interesting. This kind of like falls. It kind of like falls in the middle. And I think this is something you probably could do more long term and more sustainable, is when you just like modify this OMAD diet, just to make sure you're taking in enough protein, you're taking in enough fiber, vitamins, minerals, nutrients like magnesium, potassium. I feel people are always so low. The adequate intake of potassium, 4,700 milligrams. Adequate intake of magnesium, 400 milligrams. People just don't. It's so hard to get all that nutrition when you're only eating 1 meal a day, and especially protein. Most people eat at least 80 grams of protein, 90 grams of protein, unless you're really, really a petite person, petite gal or something. So I think you can do a nice modified version of this OMAD diet, get the benefits of being in a calorie deficit, but making sure that you're getting in protein and getting in good nutrition. Okay, let's see what Alexander's got to say. The OMAD protocol sounds like a good strategy to lose weight, as you can choose and measure everything. No, you can, definitely. But like I said, Alexander, I wouldn't want you to do this every day though for a steady period of time. You can do it if you quickly want to lose some weight. You can do it for a few weeks, and then I'd want you to maybe only do it once or twice a week to keep calories under control. But in your case, maybe I know you can restart resistance training and all that. You may want to just do it intermittently. Do it a couple days a week. Have 2 low calorie days. Eat as healthy as you can. Something like that. Okay, so this is I think a good modified version. This is more like a 22-2. Or even a 21-3, meaning that instead of doing this strict 23-hour fast with a 1 hour eating window, you give yourself maybe like a 2 or 3 hour eating window. And the key to it is, first you have like one small meal that's high in protein and fiber. And I have some meal examples, but if you want, I'm going to jump ahead and quickly like have, you know, pop something up, which I consider, let me show you what I mean, is like a small, now these are all the meals I'm going to talk about at the end. See something like this, like you would have like a Greek yogurt or a no-cal protein bar, like a Greek yogurt with some berries and a no-cal protein bar. So you're taking in like 40, 50 grams of protein, which is really great nutrition. You have that as soon as you break your fast. Then you wait your hour and a half, and then you have your main meal. I think that's much more sustainable because, first of all, it's going to put you in a little bit less of an aggressive calorie deficit, which will be good for metabolic adaptation. It'll make sure that you're taking enough protein, you're getting in more fiber, you're getting in some, you know, potassium with some vegetables and maybe something like that. I think it's a much better long-term approach, and I would call that maybe like the 1.5 OMAD diet. That's more sustainable. I still probably wouldn't want you to do that indefinitely, but you can probably do that for a while and be in a nice calorie deficit and still take in a reasonable amount of protein, reasonable amount of calories, reasonable amount of fiber. Something you may want to think about. That's what Michelle's got. Meal examples will be great. Yeah, Michelle, at the very end, I'm going to pull up all those meals and I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. I think Harriet's here too. I forgot to sign in. I had no problem, Harriet. That's okay. I'm glad you're showing up again. That's great. Great to see you. You look great in the picture. So I do like that strategy a lot too. That would be kind of like a 22-2 or 21-3. We haven't been doing it as much during the pandemic, but that's typically what I would do on my OMAD day because, you know, and sometimes I would have my family come over on Sunday and we'd have like a 2-3 hour feasting meal. So I'd be taking in a little bit more calories. I would be doing something like that. You have like an appetizer type thing. We would do like an Italian type thing, like a mozzarella and prosciutto and like things like that, a little bit of bread, and then we would have our main meal an hour and a half later. I think that could work much more long term. But like I say, yeah, no matter what, and all these things I'm talking about, and all these fasting and intermittent fasting and time restricted eating strategies, it still comes down to calories, number one, right? Taking in a good amount of protein and eating healthy, and you can do that by just taking in enough fiber. And just by adding this extra half a meal with the OMAD diet, I think you'll probably long term do much better with it. So that would be my favorite way really to do OMAD. And once again, if you can just eat this meal the earliest in the day as possible, it'll be better for your circadian rhythm, better for maintaining muscle mass and things like that. And let's talk about a couple of hacks too. I know some people don't like the term hacks, but it's like hacks or tips. Like I'm saying, so this is pertaining to Alexandra. So important when it comes to, you know, all these calorie restricting type diets where you're eating less. You really have to do resistance training. That's why, Alexandra, I really want you to, because it helps you maintain muscle mass. You know, you want to lose body fat, you don't want to lose muscle. So super important to do resistance training. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. Even 10 minutes 2-3 times a week can make a tremendous difference when it comes to weight loss and maintaining your muscle mass. So that's number one, super important, especially on the OMAD diet when you're aggressively restricting calories. Number two, like for example, instead of that example I just gave you of eating like a yogurt or something like that, you can just really add a protein shake, right, for that 1.5 meals. So let's say you're breaking your OMAD eating window is normally from 4 to 5. So maybe you want to have a protein shake at like 3 in the afternoon, give yourself a 2-hour eating window, take in 30-40 grams of protein. You know, you can even put a little fiber in the protein shake too. Nothing wrong with doing something like that. I think it's totally fine and actually probably good thing to do. And then have your normal meal. And these are little tricks and hacks that you can do that can make a big difference. And this is a real big one. And I know Chris does this. I do this. I cycle in and out of this all the time. There's something called essential amino acid supplements. What they are is that they're the 9 essential amino acids, which are the most important for building and maintaining muscle. The ones that the body can't produce. You have to eat. You have to get them through your diet for good health. The thing is, though, if you would compare an essential amino acid supplement to, say, a scoop of whey protein powder. A scoop of whey protein powder, my favorite brand is that Garden of Life. 120 calories, 25 grams of protein, right? But you can get a scoop of an essential amino acid powder that won't be 120 calories. It'll almost be next to nothing. It'll be like 10-15 calories. But it'll have the same amino acid profile, the same amount of leucine, isoleucine, valine, those branched chain aminos, as taking like 120 calorie scoop of whey protein. So I like that as a hack too. And in my opinion, I wouldn't be worried about that really breaking your fast or anything like that. It's almost no calories, maybe 15 calories or so. It's going to help you maintain muscle mass. It's going to keep your it'll keep you eating enough protein without necessarily taking in calories. So I think that's a great thing to do. Like 10 in the morning, you just have a nice scoop of essential amino acids, like something like that. If you're doing the OMAD diet, it just makes sure to me that you're taking in an adequate amount of protein. That's another little hack. Another good thing is it's good to do like high potassium type foods that are low in calories. This is another thing you're going to see when I pull up some pictures of the meals. Like if I'm doing the OMAD diet or if I have clients doing it, just to make sure they're taking enough potassium. Like a 16 ounces of celery juice is only like 35-40 calories. You get like 1,000-1,200 milligrams of potassium for 35-40 calories. Same thing with tomato juice is the same thing. These are things that you do want to make sure you're eating or drinking, consuming when you're only eating one meal a day. So that's another great hack to do, is have some celery juice. Let's see, Alexander's got another question. Okay. If I do 2MAD stands for 2 meals a day, could one of my meals only be a protein shake along with a protein bar? Yeah, no, I think that's a great thing to do. I think that's great. I don't know if you need both. It really depends. The protein bars that I like, which I'm going to talk about more at the end, is that no cal, because it's so high in fiber, low in net carbs. Or the Quest bar, I like that too. You can definitely do that. Like if you can do a protein shake, maybe just one scoop, which will be 25 grams of protein, 120 calories, and then have like a no-cal protein bar, which is 210 calories, another 21 grams of protein. So that would give you what? That would give you 40, 45, 46 grams of protein, which would be great, and 16, 17 grams of fiber. That would be an excellent thing to do. And then have one nice big healthy meal, like loaded with vegetables and maybe a fruit as for dessert and good fiber. Have a nice big piece of salmon, and then have like 2 different colored vegetables. Maybe have a nice big arugula salad. I think it's a great thing to do, for sure. Hey, 𝘾𝙊𝘼𝘾𝙃, thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. I think that's a great way to do it. That's a little bit maybe 1.5-ish. But I do think, though, Alexander, I think you can get by with really just normal 2MAD. Do 2 meals a day. Keep your calories in line if you want to do something more sustainable long term. If you want to do like what you said, that protein shake, protein bar, and 1 meal, then I would probably still put that in the short-term strategy category or the intermittent category, because it's still hard to make sure you're taking in enough potassium and magnesium, enough nutrition when you're really only doing 1 real meal and then like a protein source with some fiber. So keep that in mind. But something you can do once or twice a week, which would be a great calorie deficit day, and then you do like a more traditional like 2MAD, where you're eating 2 real meals and maybe a protein shake still or a protein bar, and maybe you're like just a little below maintenance calories, or maybe at maintenance if you want to maintain your weight. And then I also think you should take a whole food natural vitamin. I love New Chapter, and they were like synthetic multivitamins. They were whole food multivitamins. A whole food multivitamin is just like all natural food. It's just like dehydrated fruits and vegetables. I like New Chapter. Somewhat expensive, but it's really good. I know 𝘾𝙆𝙃's into those green drinks, those green powders, like Amazing Grass, Amazing Greens. I think that's the name, the one you like. Or there's Athletic Greens. That's like kind of like taking a multivitamin too, and it's all natural. It's just dehydrated fruits and vegetables. I think that's probably a good thing to do too. Definitely when you're on the OMAD diet, just to make sure you're getting enough of those vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. It just covers your bases a little bit. If you want to take a less expensive synthetic one that's half synthetic, I like Alive. I do that sometimes if I want to save money. I'll take the Alive for men over 50, which is a combination of synthetic and natural. And I don't necessarily think synthetic is bad, but I know a lot of people just want whole natural foods, and that would be like those whole natural food New Chapters. And when you look at a natural vitamin, like a multivitamin, you're going to see that the quantities are much less. You're not going to see like 10,000, about 10,000, the daily allowance of vitamin B. It's going to be much, much lower. But New Chapter actually ferments them, meaning that they're somewhat you're going to look at fermentation like they're pre-digested. So New Chapter will claim that you can absorb all these vitamins, minerals, and nutrients much better when you're going with like a fermented whole natural food vitamin, as opposed to going to something synthetic that has tremendous dosages. I like to go both. I like taking high amounts of vitamin B. I feel good on that for some reason. I do. Okay, let's see what Gwen's got. Hey, so Gwen, hey Mike. I had grilled chicken salad and arugula. Oh, that sounds good. So Gwen knows that you'll see when I pull up some of my meals, she knows that I eat like an arugula salad every day. I love arugula. It's my favorite microgreen for multiple reasons. One reason is arugula is high in nitrates naturally, like the good nitrates, which convert to nitric oxide within the body, which is incredibly good for like blood flow, for vasodilation. Some studies have even showed that it can potentially help lower blood pressure. I love arugula. Plus, it's almost like a free food. The calories are so low. I love the bitterness of it. But there are other things too, like spinach. You can, if you don't like that bitterness of arugula. Hey, let's see, Jesse. Okay, I'm 21. This is Jesse. I'm 21. Have you got any advice for starting my fasting for weight loss? Yeah, Jesse, at 21, you're kind of just at the age where if you want to lose some weight, you're old enough now that as long as you never had an eating disorder or anything like that, I think you can probably experiment with some intermittent fasting. I was sort of really easy. If you're eating multiple times during the day, then I would literally start with just like a 14-hour fast, like week 1. And I did it. This was the live stream I did last week. If you want to check it out, but if you feel like you've been eating like 3 meals a day, I think you can go right into more of like a classic 16-8, where you fast for 16 hours, taking all your calories within an 8-hour eating window, and you do it with 3 meals a day. I would start with that. And if you can do it earlier in the day, like do early 16-8 or early time restricted eating. Time restricted eating means that you're doing it every single day. You can do it intermittently too. Just do it once, twice, 3 times a week if you want to ease into it. But if you can have that first meal earlier in the day, like 10 o'clock, then have, lunch maybe around 1, and then have dinner like 6, that would probably be better. But if you want to skip breakfast and do like maybe 11 to 7, do something like that. And at first, don't, eat your normal diet for the first week or 2 before you clean your diet up, just to get used to the eating schedule. But by week 2 or by week 3, I would also clean up the diet. And like, I would want you to eat like I'm going to be talking about in all my meal examples. And the other thing too is, I'm a big believer in this. I know everyone that follows me, drink a lot of mineral water when you do this OMAD diet for sure, because mineral water like 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉 is high in magnesium, right? I think you get about 50 milligrams of magnesium for every liter. Plus, there's a little bit of sodium in there, a little bit of calcium. It adds a little bit of the electrolytes. Some people think it helps for hunger. So I love doing the lemon. I squeeze half a lemon in 𝘾𝙊𝙾𝙃 like every single morning. In my opinion, doesn't break my fast. Almost no calories. We're talking 2-3 calories. Plus, lemon juice has been shown to even help control blood sugar. And it's also great for hunger. Some people like to put apple cider vinegar in some mineral water. You can do that too. I think those are great hacks just to make this OMAD thing like a little bit easy for you. But, I should have explained that earlier in the diet. What I mean by not eating for 23 hours is really just not taking in any calories. Or no substantial calories. Nothing over 5, 10, 15 calories. Okay, this was 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂. Okay, my favorite... Oh, I think I missed one of your questions, Jeff. I'll come back. My favorite salad is arugula with olive oil, red wine, vinegar. Ooh, it sounds good. Strawberries and blueberries. It's so yummy. Yes, I'm right with you, 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉. I'm gonna eat like that's my diet. I eat like that every single day. Let's see what Jeff's takes. I've been taking. Oh, yeah, Mega Man. I used to take Mega Man, Jeff. GNC Mega Man multivitamins like 15s. I think it's a really good one. I used to take it too. I think it's a combination of synthetic and natural, and I think it's very similar to Alive. But I used to take Mega Man. It's not, it's interesting. It's not a GNC anywhere near me anymore. There used to be one right near my gym, and it closed down a while ago. Okay, this is Gwen. Okay, I do have bulimia disorder in my recovery. Counselor doesn't want me to fast, but I showed her your videos about OMAD with a protein shake, and she said that can work for me. Oh, that's really good. I didn't realize that Gwen, that you had bulimia. But I do think that OMAD with the protein shake even someone with maybe an eating disorder, because you are eating 3 times during the day, I think that's a good approach. I mean, that's my go-to long-term approach when it comes to intermittent fasting. I would talk about it every week, but I keep on changing it up just because I can't talk about the same exact thing every day. But my favorite intermittent fasting time restricted eating strategy by far is like a 16-8 with 2 meals a day with a protein shake in the middle, because you take an incredibly good nutrition with 2 meals. You can reach all the things I'm talking about. You can take in enough protein, you can take in enough fiber, vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. 2 good healthy meals. So I'm going to give you a bunch of examples. And then just to make sure you're taking in enough protein, I like to throw in a protein shake or one of those like 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉 Quest protein bars. And it's nice because you get another 15, 17 grams of fiber. That's my best long-term strategy. You can eat like that and forget about intermittent fasting, right? You can wake up in the morning, have a great breakfast, right? Instead of having a big lunch, just have a protein shake, a protein bar, right? And then for dinner, just have a nice, perfect dinner. You know, I mean, there's nothing really magical, all that magical about the fasting. You can use these same strategies, just keep calories under control, eating 2 meals a day plus a protein shake. I think you can do that your whole life. You don't have to even intermittent fast at all. It'd be nice if you went 12 hours or 14 hours, and you probably would, because you don't want, you want the benefit of those low insulin just when you're sleeping or for 12 hours. But you can do that indefinitely, no question about it. That's what I did most of my life, before I got into this fasting like 10, 12 years ago. All right, so we go. Okay, so let's do some examples. Okay, I'm missing some questions. See what we got. Okay, this is Alexandra. Mike, I keep hearing of the benefits of olive oil. Do you think adding a tablespoon in my protein shake is a good thing? I think it could be a good thing. First of all, I'm assuming you would mean extra virgin olive oil. I know Dr. 𝘾𝙊𝘼, I stopped following him, but I read a number of his books, and he was a believer in like an insane amount of extra virgin olive oil you should have every day. He thinks like the only reason why you should eat is to get extra virgin olive oil into your system. High in polyphenols, high in all these good things. I think olive oil is a good thing. It's a real healthy fat source. It's my main source of added fat to my diet. Like I don't really use too much butter. I definitely use very little of those omega-6, like the seed oils. I may eat something now and then that has it. Like I went to the restaurant I went to last night when I ordered filet of sole. I know they used like some type of like vegetable oil on top. I can just tell from the taste and from the look of it. Like I don't run away from it, and you do need some of those essential, the sixes, because they're essential aminos. You need them in your diet. But olive oil is my main cooking oil. I think it is great. I use it on my salad dressing when I'm sauteing my vegetables, EVO. I love it. I think it's a good thing. It really, to answer your question a little more specifically, it really would depend on me is where you are calories, because right, every tablespoon is 136, 140 calories, 14 grams, right? So if there is a lot of calories in a tablespoon of oil, and where are your other fat sources coming from calorie-wise? See, that's why I like to say calories, right, protein, and fiber. Like if you feel you're getting enough protein, right, and you're taking in good fiber, eating other vegetables and things like that, and maybe a fruit or two, but your calories are low, like I would much rather you take some extra virgin olive oil, on your salads, and maybe, when you're sauteing, making your scrambled eggs, as opposed to eating like a piece of bread or something like that to increase your calories, So I do think it's a good thing. It would be based on how many calories you're taking in the whole day. Because I like to say, whenever I calculate my macros, like say I don't do it every day because I just kind of know, but every now and then I use MyFitnessPal and I say, okay, what's going on? Let me know exactly how many grams of protein, fats, and carbs. Most of my calories do come from fat, because I'm eating whole eggs, I'm eating sardines, I'm eating salmon, I'm eating an avocado every day, right? I do put extra virgin olive oil on my salad when I saute my vegetables. Lately, shrimp's been on sale at that local grocery I love to go to. I've been eating shrimp every day. It just ended, so I'm going to stop. It was like $9.99 a pound for like wild caught, like Gulf shrimp, which was incredible. And I'll use extra virgin olive oil there. So it really, I don't chase fat, even though most of my calories do come from fat, because I think fat is a good thing. So, I mean, I hope I answered that question for you, Alexander. I think it could be a good thing for you. He says, Jesse, okay, thanks. I'll take all that on board. Sounds good, Jesse. Yeah, try it. And I do this. I'm here every Sunday, 11:30. If you have any questions, watch some of my videos on YouTube. If you want the short little ones, like also, I forget who asked the question. I guess, who was it who asked the question about meal examples? That's, Michelle, right, Michelle? If you ever also, I'm going to talk about it in a second, but I do videos, short videos, on like TikTok and Instagram just about every single day, showing exactly what I eat. So there's tons. There's probably I got about 60 or 70 videos like that. Okay, let's see. 16.8 changed my life. I was 200 pounds, 32% body fat at 24 years old. Wow. Now after 8 months, I'm 150. Oh, that's incredible. Around 15% body fat, strongest I've ever been. Your videos helped a lot. Oh, I really love to hear that. That sounds great. You must be an artist too. Maybe you're a singer or performer or something. That's great. I like your headshot. You look great. I really love that. I love hearing stories like that. That's fantastic. I'm so happy it worked for you. And you did it with 16.8. See, I think 16.8 really is a good long-term strategy. You can do it for the rest of your life. You can be in a calorie deficit. You can be at maintenance. You know, you get the benefits of being fasted for 16 hours, plus you can take in good nutrition because you're giving yourself an 8-hour eating window. Love it. Okay, let's see. Jesse, what could you do if you have craving for sweet? I know, Jesse, that's the hard thing. It's not easy. That's why at first, maybe you don't change your diet for a week or two. And then, you know, I hate to say you have to tough it out, but if you gradually go into more of a moderate carbohydrate diet, I think the cravings will dissipate. They seem to. Some people feel like the electrolytes help, you know, like by having, you know, electrolyte powder, or putting, you know, you can buy that real mint salt and put it in your mineral water. That's why I think mineral waters help. I don't think long term the sweet cravings are going to be an issue. Initially, for the first couple of weeks, it could be. But at first, when you do the fasting, don't change your diet. Eat your sweet stuff, what you want. By the third week, though, start slowly cutting back on your carbs. You know, I'm not sure your size or weight or this and that. You know, I don't know, 100, 150 grams of carbs a day. I think 150 grams, what's that, 600 calories is a nice sweet spot to be in for a moderate carbohydrate, you know, diet. Let's see what Jeff's got. I got 4 weeks until spring tennis season starts. So I think I'm going to go as low calorie as I can, reasonably, until then, and then use the first tennis week as my diet break, OMAD, for 4 weeks. So OMAD for 4 weeks, that sounds good, Jeff. I mean, I think you can do it. Maybe you want to do the 1.5, though, like I've been talking about, that little modification, because I don't want you to lose any muscle mass. I know you've been doing really good. So maybe you want to do either like a protein shake, a protein bar, maybe a small protein heavy meal, and then do your OMAD. Unless you just want, you know, because I think at your weight, it's hard to eat like 100, 150 grams of protein in one meal, especially if I don't want you to lose any muscle mass for tennis and you've been doing so good. I'd probably want you to do a 1.5 with like a 2 or 3 hour eating window if you can, right? Maybe you can try that. Let's see what we got. Okay. My labs came back. Okay, this is Carol Jean. My labs came back. My cholesterol is higher now, but my triglycerides and HDLs are great. Oh, that sounds good. I know it's so complicated, that the whole cholesterol thing. I think that, you know, the triglycerides, the HDL are the more important numbers as opposed to the total number, and it gets kind of confusing. Since I'm not a doctor, I don't really go into it too much with it. But there's that APO. You know, I know Peter Attia talks about it all the time. I was thinking about maybe doing a live stream all on HDL and all on cholesterol and things like that. But I have to say, I'm sure if you want to get your total cholesterol down, Carol Jean, you can. And I've never worked with a client ever who I couldn't, you know, who followed a healthy diet plan and lost weight instead of working out, who couldn't get the cholesterol under control. I've never had a client. I've had numerous clients not do it and then just go on the medicine. The negative thing about, I don't think there's anything wrong with taking a statin. If you need it, take it. No big deal. If you're a little A, you probably should take a statin if you have the genotype like that, little A genotype. But the only negative thing I find about statins is not necessarily the medication itself, is that people just give up. And this has happened so many times to clients of mine over a 20-year period. Like the one guy that pops into my head, but there's so many who like every 2 years he go to the doctor, cholesterol's high. The doctor would say, you know, I'll give you 3 months. I want your cholesterol like below, you know, I want this below, you know, below 190, below 200, blah, blah, blah. And he would say, okay, Mike, let's do it. We would clean up his diet. We'd get him working out. Like besides working out with me 3 days a week, I'd want him to, walk during the week, just be more active. But the main thing was the diet. And it worked every time. He'd lose 10, 12 pounds. He'd go back to his doctor 3 months. Then, doctor's fine. You're great. You don't need the medication. Then 1 year, he was getting older. This is way before the pandemic. This is like maybe 10 years ago. And I moved my gym, so I lost him. He stopped training with me. 1 year he said, Mike, I just, my cholesterol was high. I don't think I can do it. I'm not in the mood. I don't have the energy to take, to change my diet. I'm just going to take the medicine. And he did. And his cholesterol was normal. But you know what happened? He never lost the weight. He wound up gaining even more weight. And I trained him for like 2 years. And I don't want to, I'm glad he's coming to my gym. I'm glad he's exercising. I'm glad, there are a lot of health benefits to that. His numbers are good. His blood pressure was good. He just started slowly gaining weight. Like, there's nothing free in life, right? If you take, I don't think there's anything wrong with taking the medicine, but you still can't, that's not like, you can't just keep on eating anything you want. And there's not free range of just keep on eating junk food and garbage. I mean, how much, I know your cholesterol numbers are better, but it's not going to, I don't know if it's going to prolong your life. So I would say that's the only real negative of those statins, in my opinion. And I've seen that happen multiple times to my clients. So, but I'm not calling you out, Cal-Jin. Maybe your cholesterol, maybe it is great, even though it's just a little bit higher. Especially if your HDLs are high and your triglycerides are low. That's the ratio that I would look at. But maybe you can make like just little changes. Maybe just eating maybe a teeny bit more fiber can make a big difference too. Let's see. Okay, I just sent you my transformations pictures on your Insta. I'll go. I can't wait to see it. That's great. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that sounds great. I'll check them out after this. That sounds great. Thanks. Let's see Donna. So, hey Donna, thanks for showing up. Thank you so much. Great information and tips. I appreciate you showing up, Donna. Cool. And here's Jeff. Okay, Jeff was the one who asked the question about the tennis. If I have my only meal at lunch, what's the best way to avoid evening hunger? That's gonna be I know, Jeff, it's not easy if you do the OMAD. But why don't you do that? Why don't you have maybe do a protein shake? Why don't you just have a protein bar for dinner? I think that would help. I don't think that's gonna mess up. 210 calories. It's gonna make sure you get another 15 grams of fiber. It's also going to make sure you're getting in another 20-25 grams of protein. I probably would just do that. I think it would help you with the hunger. If you don't want to do that, some people are like, herbal teas, chamomile teas, keep your electrolytes up. Maybe I don't know if you want to spend the money, you can do an essential amino acid, shake around 5-6 in the evening. It'll give you like 15 calories. It'll give you like the equivalent of 25 grams of protein. It's, there's no way around it. I mean, but if you're eating, moderate carb within your one meal, that will probably help too. If you're going to be doing that OMAD like every day for 4 weeks, you're probably going to be in ketosis. So you're going to be, most likely you'll be in ketosis unless you're really pounding the carbs for that one meal. If you're in ketosis, your body adapts. You probably won't even be hungry. You'll be hungry the first week, and then you probably won't be hungry at all, because you won't be getting those little spikes. So hard to say. That's a tough one. Well, and once it's sent too, remember the videos I did, the live stream I did a few weeks ago talking about leptin, like the hunger hormones and ghrelin and all that. When you're eating earlier in the day, so if you're doing it for lunch, it'll be better for leptin, because if you're new to this, what I was saying is leptin is the hormone that, when you eat and say you're gaining weight, your fat cells, right, actually release a hormone called leptin, which tells your brain to stop eating because you're gaining weight, which is a normal thing. Some people unfortunately become leptin resistant, just like they become insulin resistant, where their brain doesn't respond, they just keep on eating. But research has also shown that when you eat later in the day, like say you're eating late at night, say you're snacking 8-9 o'clock at night, when you wake up the next day, this is not if you just do it one night, if you do it for like consistently, when you wake up in the morning, your leptin levels are lower, so you're going to be more hungry. So the fact that Jeff is going to be eating his one meal in the middle of the day, that's a big benefit when it comes to hunger, for sure. Okay, I guess the answer, that protein shake in the evening, yeah, I probably would do that, Jeff. Why not? Do a protein shake. If you want to do the shake, like 100, 120 calories, 25 grams of protein, I think it's only going to do you good. You're still going to be in a great calorie deficit doing the OMAD, in the middle of the day like that, for sure. Let's see Anna. Okay, here a bit late. Thank you always for the lives. This info is priceless. Ooh, and I like that. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you showing up. Let's see what 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃 said. Okay, my good cholesterol is so much better. It was dangerous in 2020. Okay, good. I'm glad, 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃. I mean, I know you know what you're doing. You're a fitness gal. I mean, yeah. I mean, and you, your daughter, your husband. I mean, you guys are just a fit family. All around. Which is great. Okay, so let's go over some meal examples. I could even pull some more in. I'll give you an example of some OMAD things that I did. So this is one of my OMAD meals, and this is kind of what 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃 is talking about. This is a combination of, but I'm going to show I added stuff to this, so I don't want you to think this is the only thing I had when I did an OMAD. This is a bed of arugula and spinach. You may not be able to see it, but it's a combo. But what I want you to take away from this is that look how heavy it is on the protein. And this is those big, I forget the name of this plate. That's that brand. My wife loves these plates. We have them in multiple colors. It's a tremendous bowl. It's deep and it's really, really big. So I must have 8 to 10 ounces of sliced steak. Every 4 ounces of chicken, fish, or meat is about 25 grams of protein. So I have probably 50, 60 grams of protein of red meat right there. And it's medium lean. It's not crazy lean. I can see some grains of fat going through it. I also had leftover, that's, I think that's like blackened chicken to me, it looks like, from the night, because this is from a few weeks ago, from the night before, another probably 3-4 ounces. I'm at 90 grams of protein, probably 80 grams of protein right there. I also cut the avocado because I want the potassium, right? An average avocado, 800-900 milligrams of potassium, 15-16 grams of fiber. I also threw in a handful of blueberries. I don't know if you can see it, but I think I even threw a handful of walnuts, which are kind of like on the bottom of this too. So that's a relatively moderate calorie, high protein, high fiber, high potassium OMAD meal. But then what I do all the time is that I'll do something like this. Like I'll also drink after that, I'll drink like a celery juice, like I said, which will be only 35 calories. Gives me like another like 1,000 milligrams of potassium. So it brings this meal up to 2,000 milligrams of potassium to make sure I'm getting new nutrition. Sometimes I'll do something where I'll add like, I'll do things like I said here, but I may even eat a protein bar after that. I probably wouldn't because this was really protein heavy. I probably would do like some blueberries, strawberries with a tablespoon of ground flaxseed in a yogurt, you know, just to give me a little bit more calories, a little more vitamins, minerals, some calcium. You know, so I accent, when I do OMAD, when I do one meal a day, I'm always adding things to it just to make sure I'm taking it. And sometimes Sunday is a little more of a feasting meal, like I said. If I have friends come over, you know, it's more of a big thing. I think we got some other questions. Oh, let's see what we got. Okay, there's another YouTuber named Keto Body who also has been promoting intermittent fasting. Yes, I know. Since you know about that kid, you know, I'm sure he doesn't remember me at all. I was in a group with him about blogging, about like a blogging group where we would do like affiliate marketing. This is like 15 years ago, and I messed up. And I don't blame him at all. I think it's totally okay. I had a website called Movie Star Body. It was a website. This is like 15 years ago, and it was moviestarbody.com. And I was selling this affiliate course from a guy I really like. His name is Rusty. What's that? I forget his name. Rusty Moore. He would sell all these like fitness and weight loss and like, you know, weight training and fitness training type courses. And I had this movie star best up because his whole philosophy was how to get, like, similar to what Alexandra was asking. How do you lift weights without like getting overly big? How to have more of a movie star body, that lean physique, not over volumizing the muscle cells. And that was and they had this program called Visual Impact, and I liked it. I thought it was great, and I was recommending it on the Movie Star Body site. But after a while, I said, you know, I just lost track of it, and I stopped doing it, and I just forgot to renew the URL. And Keto Body, that kid, this kid's like a young, shredded kid. He's like really, you know, handsome, like he's in great shape. He's much younger than me, probably 30 years younger than me. 25, 30 years younger than me. He snatched it right up. I didn't want to lose it. I didn't realize. I just like, I think I was using GoDaddy. I forgot to renew it. And I must have like the first minute, like the first day I forgot to renew it, he grabbed it right up. And he has this whole course. Like, I'm sure it's good. I've never purchased it because he seems like a sharp guy. He does really well, I think, online. He has like a whole course. He got the website, moviestarbody.com, and he's doing really, really well with it. So it's kind of interesting. I'm a little, so based on your comment, I'm a little familiar with him. I don't really follow him, but I know he's really successful online with all his different programs. And I know he's into intermittent fasting too. Hey Iris, thanks for showing up from Germany. You always leave such nice complimentary comments. I really appreciate it. Thanks for showing up. That's cool. Let's see. Okay. Hi Iris. Hey. Tasmania. That's great. Everyone else from. That's cool. Tasmania. This is amazing. These meal ideas are always so, okay, these meal ideas, this is Ann. These meal ideas are always so helpful. Thank you. Oh, great. Okay, this is Jeff again. College Station, Texas. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, Ann, I guess you're talking to Ann. Sorry. Okay. Okay, good. You guys are talking to it. Okay, good. Let me pull some other example. I think I got a few more here. Okay, this is a good example of like a big feasting meal. It's so hard to say. This is oh my God. This must be like 2 pounds of flounder. And on an OMAD day, I would do this. Typically, I wouldn't do this in my normal diet. See how I typically would, like I said, I'm talking about how I don't add fats to to my meals. I just add extra virgin olive oil. If you can see, there's a ton of butter on that. We just was in the mood. It was an OMAD day for myself. I must be 2 pounds of like flounder. I made like a buttery like olive oil combination butter sauce on top, seasoned it up. Notice too, I typically don't eat potatoes even though I love them so. But for an OMAD day, I was having a whole bunch of small white potatoes. No, potatoes are also high in potassium, but they're high glycemic type carb. There's a whole bunch of vegetables underneath there, string beans and tomato. This is just a great OMAD meal. And I'm pulling meals that I've had in the past, so I'm sure I even had a dessert type thing. Like, you know what I have for dessert a lot? I do a couple of different things. I like nuts in the shell because it slows me down. We were talking about this last time with Gwen a little bit. I'll have like assorted nuts and I'll just crack them open. It'll take me like 15-20 minutes and I take my time. I'll eat a few hundred calories of nuts. I'll also maybe have some dark chocolate. I'll have like a couple of lines of dark chocolate. It's about 190 calories. I think dark chocolate is good too, high in magnesium. I go with 85% or higher. Plus it's pretty high in fiber, low in sugar. So I don't want to mislead you and say when I do OMAD, I do have some things like that just to make the meal a little bit more satisfying and think. But I think that's a great meal. And I lean, if you guys have noticed, I kind of lean a little bit more pescatarian-ish when it comes to my eating style, as opposed to But here's a different. I'm making this today. This is what we're having today. Actually, my wife, unfortunately, once a month now goes away for business. I really miss her. She leaves this week, so I like them. We're gonna make a big bowl of chili. I know Chris makes my chili too, and I have a video with the recipe on it if you want to know the exact recipe. I make a bison like buffalo chili. I love it. Lean buffalo. It's just great. So and I'll make it today, and I'll probably have it for 2 or 3 more times during the week. But let me show you how I like modify this, just so you know what I mean. So on an OMAD day, I may not just have one bowl. I'm sure I had 2 bowls. Plus, how I make my chili, I make it low on the beans. I use half a can of beans. The recipe calls for a whole. I only use half. I use 3 pounds of bison. Then I buy a whole bunch of green peppers. I buy 6 or 7 green peppers, a couple of onions. It comes out great. So it's besides just getting the protein from the bison, I'm getting some fiber, some nutrition from the onions and from the peppers, and the beans too, some fiber from the beans. But I also want to make sure I'm getting my potassium, so I have my avocado, right? I also want to make sure I'm getting even more fiber. I want that 16, 17 grams of fiber, which is in every avocado. I didn't have avocado every day. Superfood, in my opinion. I think everyone should eat an avocado every single day. I just love it. So satisfying too. And then I just threw some blueberries, where I removed the pit. It's amazing how well blueberries and avocados go together flavor-wise. I love it. And you may not have seen it, but sometimes I'll even drizzle a little bit of extra virgin olive oil on top of that. And like I said, I'll probably do 2 bowls of this chili, maybe even more, on an OMAD type day. And I love it. I mean, that's another thing I like people to have when it comes to good eating. So much about eating good is, I don't do too many meal prep videos. I may start doing a little bit more, but so much of eating healthy and good is to have things in your house, in your refrigerator, already cooked, done, ready to go. Like the worst thing you can do is to be hungry, come home, and not know what to eat, right? What are you going to do? You're going to grab a bag of potatoes, you're going to grab some donuts, you're going to grab garbage. I always recommend everyone should have, if it's not a big pot of chili, it's a big bowl of chicken soup or lentil soup. You need to have something in your refrigerator where whenever you're hungry, you don't know what to have. There's no place to go wrong. There's nothing to think about. You just go right to it. That's why other staples I like to keep in my house. Like I say, I always have avocados. I always keep cans of sardines. I eat a lot of sardines all the time, right? I always have like Greek yogurt in the refrigerator. I always have some blueberries or blackberries and raspberries. I always have nuts. I'm never caught. I always keep frozen shrimp too, because when those shrimp were on sale, like I was saying this week, I would buy them like fresh there, but I also keep the frozen ones. I never want to get caught and like not know what to eat. So I always really recommend, it's so great to have a big pot of chili, bowl of chicken soup, ginger. I used to make ginger carrot soup. I always like to have something in the refrigerator, so I never really get stuck and I know what to have. See, I think we have a few more questions here. Let's see. Once I get over my fear of, okay, that's I think Anna was talking to Jeff. I wish I loved avocados more, Mike. It's the texture, but I will persist. I know it's hard when you don't like the texture of a food. It really is. But, you know, it's not a miracle. You know, you can get by without it. I just love avocados. I think they're so good for you. Okay, here's from Jeff. One tip if you don't have much time to cook. I get faux bread. I'm not familiar with that. Smoked salami. It comes with a herb sauce. It does have a little sugar. But if you drizzle a little bit, it's not so interesting. And I'm not familiar with that, so I'll have to check it out, Jeff. Sounds great. Let's see. This is 𝘾𝙊𝘼𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂. I've lost a lot of weight eating beans. 4-hour body diet with Tim Ferriss. He calls it slow carb diet. That's interesting. You know, I read that book a long, long time ago. I got to reread it. It was such a big book. I have to check it out again. I like Tim Ferriss. I used to follow his podcast from time to time. Good. Okay, so good. I think I may have another meal example or two here. Let's see. Let me see what I got. Do I have any other flounder? Let me see. Oh, there's the nuts. Yeah, I did a post on Brazil. I love Brazil nuts. That's another thing I'll have, you know, after an OMAD day. And Brazil nuts, like one Brazil nut gives you like the adequate intake of like adequate, like the amount of selenium you're supposed to eat in a day in just one Brazil nut. That's why you don't want to eat too many of them. You know, you just want to have a few because you're going to have to actually overdo selenium. But most people are low in selenium too. Let me pull some other meals in here too. Let's see what Ann said. I'm not really fussy at all, and the way I do like avocado is smoothie. Oh, that sounds good. I think that's a great way to have an avocado. You can make a smoothie out of it. But sometimes I always find like what you put on the avocado maybe make it help too. See, what I do sometimes too is I'll mush it up. Sometimes, like you see the one where I have the avocado with the blueberries. Sometimes I will literally just mush it up with a fork and make almost like a dip out of it. And I'll take carrots, or even sometimes you may see I'll eat those baked Italian breadsticks. I do that and I'll dip that into the avocado. I may season it with a little garlic powder, a little pepper and salt. But if you mush it up really good, almost make it into a guacamole without adding everything, you know, the texture of it's a little different, which maybe you'll like that a little bit better. This is Deborah, as I say. Are you maintaining your weight now, Mike? If so, how long have you been maintaining? You know what? It's interesting. I felt that since I switched over, I was wrestling with a couple of topics today for the live stream. One topic was how to adjust your diet when you feel like, you know, you've been doing like intermittent fasting. Like I've been doing this early time restricted eating, which I switched over to, like you guys know, a couple of months ago, where, you know, I'll eat at 10 o'clock and then I'll try to be done more around 6. But I do find, see, just naturally, instinctively, and just more from my normal lifestyle. And I am better, no question about it, skipping breakfast and doing more like a 18-6 even, like, you know, like eating 1, 2 o'clock, working out fasted and having dinner around 7, 7:30, being done at 8, or maybe being done around 7:30, 7. That works better for me. It just does. But I really like the benefits of taking in protein earlier in the day based on all the research and the circadian rhythm. And I feel like I got a little stronger in the gym recently, and I put on a little bit of muscle, but I just weighed myself. And I gained a few pounds. I gained about 3-4 pounds. And it's interesting. I did this video, and I think my body fat, let me see if I can pull this video. I'm going to pull this video into the screen. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. I think I actually gained a little bit of weight that I didn't really want to. And what's leading to your question is, I think I might, let me pull it in. I think I can play this video. You see this video? Okay, this is a video of me. I guess I'm assuming you can see me here. This is a video of me, and I was explaining how to train your back with the giant set. A giant set is basically when you do 3 exercises with the same body part in a row. Meaning like a seated row, trains your back. Then this is a cable pullover, trains your back but lets your biceps rest, because the weak link when you're doing a row is your bicep, and then a lot pull down. And I'm looking at myself and I'm saying, you know, I think and I've been a little bit hungry in the evening. I think that this, let me see, I hope I can get rid of this. Let's see if I can just click that and get rid of it. Uh-oh, we don't want to do that. Let me see if I can let me see this right. Okay. Yeah, let's go primary. There we go, I'm back. Okay. I think that this early time restricted eating for me, I'm eating more calories. So I'm going to do 2 things. Like you say, maintenance. I want to get my body fat a little bit lower again. First of all, I'm going to I'm visiting my friend in California, my favorite buddy. I can't wait to see him. So I'm gonna see him in about 3-4 weeks. I'm gonna probably get, I'm gonna try to get a little bit leaner. So I'm gonna do either two things. Either I'm gonna stay with this early time restricted eating, and then I'll do what I normally do in the past. I may start using MyFitnessPal, start tracking everything, figure out exactly how many calories I'm eating, and I think I've been sneaking in some extra calories because I've been taking in calories earlier. Or I was even thinking about, even though the research says, and this is a good point to make, that's why I was debating whether I should do a live stream on this. Even though the research says that it is better to do early time restricted eating, you still got to do something that fits you. I was thinking about maybe just going back to my 2 MAD plus a protein shake, 18-6, like training fasted again, maybe do the essential aminos in the morning, and then just like having my first meal like 1-2 o'clock and being done eating by like 7-7:30. I might go back to that for 3 weeks and see how it goes. It's interesting. So I'm glad you asked that question, Deborah. That was really good, because I cycle from maintenance if I feel like it's creeping up, and then I'll cut back. So I'm probably going to make a change, and maybe I'll do a live stream about it next week, because I feel like my body fat kind of creeped up a little bit. People were making fun of me with that video. People on YouTube are harsh, boy. Wow. I put that on I think I put that video on TikTok, and sometimes I just delete the comments. Sometimes I read them quickly. And one guy said to me, recommendations from a guy out of shape. I mean, he probably doesn't know that I'm 60 years old, but still, what can you do? Okay, this is Ann. I'm really not fussy. Oh no, I think we looked at that one already. Oh, salmon, not salami, Jeff. That makes more sense to me. I like that better. So I said salami with salmon. That's good. That makes sense. Oh yeah, Ann's been eating the Brazil nuts. Oh, that's great. Cool. Okay, Michelle. Oh, thank you for the meal examples. I lean more pescatarian also. Yeah, me too. This is awesome. Thank you. Oh no, thanks for showing up, Michelle. I appreciate it. That's great. Iris. Oh, that's cool. Okay. James is here too. Hey, James. Thanks for showing up. Good morning, Mike. You're looking younger every week. Oh, thanks a lot. I didn't shave today. I got my little thing. I'm probably gonna shave later. I would like to know if anyone in the chat would like to do a bodybuilding eating plan. I'm interested. I can do something like that for you if you want. It's really, this is the thing I've talked about in the past too. It's so interesting because I did more of like a traditional bodybuilding diet, 20, 25 years of my life. Well, from my like 20s, 30s, even 40s, where I ate much more carbohydrates. Like I was doing more of it seems like you have two options. This is what I'm leading into it. When it comes to like losing weight and maintaining muscle, you always want to eat enough protein. So I always ate a high amount of protein in my diet, always did. But when I was in my 20s and 30s, I did more of a traditional bodybuilding diet, meaning that I was so concerned about fat, everybody was. And this is when like the popular books were like 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝘼𝘾𝙃 book, the Fit or Fat book, Dr. Ornish's book. Everyone's saying fat's so bad. And plus fat has 9 calories per gram, proteins and carbs only gets 4. So I ate a relatively low carb diet, and I ate a good amount of carbohydrates. And how I would control my weight, like say I wanted to get really lean, I never cut back on protein. I would cut back on carbs a little, cut back on fat, and that's how I controlled my diet. And even ketogenic diets were even popular 20, 30 years ago. Maybe I would even do a keto diet for 2 weeks to burn a lot of body fat and then eat some carbs to volumize my muscle cells. But I have to say, this is a little bit related to 𝘾𝙆𝘾 too. When I ate like that, I did look good and felt lean, but I had to say there was a couple things. First of all, I was always hungry. I was starving all the time from eating all those carbohydrates because I'm always spiking insulin and blood sugar's going down. I'm getting hungry. And my cholesterol was not really high, but it was nowhere near as good as it was now. My triglycerides were higher, my HDLs were lower, and my total cholesterol was higher. Now that I eat in the way that I eat, where most of my calories do come from fat, but the healthy fats like the avocados, the salmon, the eggs, the fish like that, and I eat relatively low carbs, say 100 grams of carbs a day on average. That's kind of where I kind of fall in, 400 calories, sometimes more. I'm never hungry, and my blood work is better. So it's really interesting. But so when it comes to a bodybuilding diet, the whole idea is you want to take in, like, it's different if you want to be like a fat adapted bodybuilder, which I probably wouldn't recommend. I think you could be a fat adapted like endurance athlete, where you're eating very little carbs and you're fueling your body all with fat. But, to volumize the muscle cell, you kind of need the carbs because, you hold glycogen in your muscles and it kind of, you hold water and it volumizes the muscle. Plus, it helps you get a good pump in the gym, those carbohydrates with the, when you're lifting weights, you are burning glucose and, things like that. So the whole key is keep your protein high and then eat enough carbohydrates that you have energy in the gym to get a good pump and to work out well, but at the same time, don't take in too many calories. So maybe more, keep an eye on the fat too. Like I know I used to follow all the Frank Zane stuff, which was my favorite bodybuilder. That's the guy. Let me give you a different picture view. I think I showed you this last time too. See, that's Frank Zane, right here. He's my favorite guy. I have a signed picture of him. I always like to look at that all the time too. When I'm doing all my stuff in here. He likes the idea where you keep like maybe, proteins and carbs kind of like in line, and then you just fill in the rest of your calories with a little bit of fat. The main thing is you still got to keep calories under control. If you want to be in a deficit, you be in a calorie deficit, you want to lose body fat. You want to eat enough carbs so you have enough energy to work out and get a good pump and not be flat. Sometimes, I'll do a cheat day because I just feel so flat if I've been going too low on carbs. Flat meaning that I don't get a good pump in the gym. I feel like my veins are like kind of flat. I just, So the whole key is eating enough carbs where you have enough energy in the gym, but you're keeping calories in line, and same thing with fat. So you may not be as high in fat as me now, but I would probably keep an eye on fat and carbs and keep protein high. But we'll do a whole live stream on that if you're interested, because I love that topic and that subject. Okay, let's see Alexandra. Okay, I find it difficult to do 16-8. You either have to sacrifice breakfast or family dinner. I know it is kind of hard. But Alexandra, you really, you don't have to do that. You can easily eat breakfast, right? You don't have to do this fasting stuff. Let's say you can do a 14-hour fast and do incredibly well with that. Forget the 16-8, 12, 14-hour fast. Eat breakfast, right? Eat dinner with your family. If you want to do like a protein shake or protein bar for lunch, you can easily do that as long as you keep calories in line, taking enough protein, taking enough fiber, good nutrition. You don't have to do these intermittent fasting, or definitely not OMAD or anything like that. If you want to be in a calorie deficit and multiply your weight by 10 or 11, that'll be a nice calorie deficit for you. And you don't even have to be in a calorie deficit every single day. You can just eat less 3 days a week and just take your time. You're a relatively young gal, I know. You can easily do that. You don't have to do these intermittent fasting. I love it because just from trying everything I possibly could imagine with clients over 35 years, the hardest thing has always been for me is not getting them in the workout good in the gym. If someone comes to my gym, they're going to get a good workout, whether they want to or not, whether they're in the mood to work out or not. Getting people to work out is the easy part. Is when they leave my gym or when they leave like a online call with me, I find the easiest way to get people to eat less is just to say, give yourself an 8-hour eating window. Give yourself a 6-hour eating window. Or I would tell them, similar to what I'm telling you now, only eat 2 meals a day. Anytime you want. Eat 2 meals a day and maybe eat a protein bar too, just to make sure you're taking enough protein. That's the key. The key is to find ways that where you're just eating less, you're taking in good nutrition, and you don't have to do this fasting stuff. You really don't. Okay, this is thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Thanks, Deborah. Thanks for the question. Iris. Okay. All your live information are great. Thanks. I personally can't cope with OMAD. No, I agree. It's definitely not for everyone because I don't have a stomach, but 2MAD is great. I adore avocados, but they get black. I know they get black things. I put them in the freezer if you buy a bunch at the time. They do. I know. We talked about that with Chris in the past too. It's hard. Like my trick for picking good avocado, I mentioned this before, is you want to buy the avocados with that stem in them that keeps them fresher. And if you can't pull the stem off easily, that means that it's not ripe yet. So when you buy them, buy some where you can't pull the stem off. Keep them in the refrigerator. You can even put them in the freezer. And that's what the supermarkets do. Sometimes I grab them, they're ice cold. I ask the guys and the gals, they say, oh, no, we keep them in the refrigerator and freezer. I try to pace my avocados. When I'm on sale, I buy a whole bunch of them. And then you want when you know they're really ripe, that stem comes out, and there's just a little bit of a give in the top and the bottom. A little bit of a give, and then they're perfect to eat. Every now and then they're just not right. But, it's an art to pick a good avocado. And then, I like to cut around the pit and just twist it right off. And then another big tip, don't ever hold it in your hand and put the knife like this to remove the pit. So many people have seriously cut themselves. You got to put it on the countertop and then chop it with the knife and twist the pit out. I've seen it. I've seen not seen, heard about it too. So many people cut themselves open up avocados. So don't be careful with that. Okay, this is Jeff. When are you eating more carbs? But okay, when you're eating more carbs, bodybuilding, what kind of carbs do you eat? Potatoes, brown rice? For me personally, if I'm going to just do like an upper carb day because I feel like I'm flat, I do lean more towards, I love sweet potatoes and I love even just baked white potatoes. I love things like that. I mean, I try to stay away because in my mind, there's still a lot of good nutrition in a baked potato loaded with potassium. Sweet potatoes have tons of things in them. I still kind of lean away from like the breads and the pastas and things like that. I mean, I love an al dente pasta now and then. Or like I love Italian bread, but that's a real treat for me. I just try to eat more the nutritious type carbs if I could, like more of the cleaner type carbs people would say. I also believe in something in those resistant starches. Like sometimes I've talked about it in the past too. Like if you refrigerate like rice, like when I get sushi rolls now and then, if I'm doing a higher carb day, I'll buy the day before, keeping them refrigerated because the rice will chemically change. It becomes a little bit of a resistant starch. We don't digest it all yet. You still get a little bit of a pop in carbohydrates. Every now and then I do bread. I do love Italian bread. I just try to stay away from it. That besides, you guys know I talk about it all the time. Potato chips are a trigger food. Italian bread's a trigger food for me too. I can't keep it in the house. I can't like Arthur Avenue bread. I just love it. Arthur Avenue, if you don't know, it's in the Bronx in New York, and it's known for like incredible Italian food from all, breads. I mean, a lot of supermarkets and restaurants in the New York area get their bread from Arthur Avenue, and it's that thick crust, incredible bread, and it's amazing. It's some of the best Italian food around is from Arthur Avenue. Great mozzarella and prosciutto, great all the cold cuts and things like that. A lot of it's made in Arthur Avenue. It's almost like, and it's right near the Bronx Zoo. If you guys ever come to New York, especially on Christmas time, I should do this with my kids, which is great. The Bronx Zoo really is a wonderful zoo, and what we would do, and it's very close to Arthur Avenue. So we would go to the light show. Like Christmas time, they have this great light show. My kids love it. The animals some animals are out at night and they have all, like Santa Clauses and just like lights everywhere. So we would go to Arthur Avenue, eat, and then we take my kids to the light show. Or sometimes we do it vice versa. We go to Arthur Avenue first, eat, and go to but my favorite place is probably Roberto's in Arthur Avenue. Incredible restaurant, really small. But there's so many good ones. Pasquale's I like too. There's a whole bunch of really good ones in Arthur Avenue for sure. It's kind of like, and it's a good touristy thing to do too. It's kind of a fun thing to do too. Okay, let's see. I love avocados. Irish, Cyprus. Oh, years eating avocados with lemon juice and lemon juice and alcohol. That sounds like a good one, Irish. I like that. Hey, Sandra, thanks for showing up. Appreciate all you do. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hungry. Wow, that's amazing. Carol Jean. Okay, since your sweet potato. Okay, slice your sweet potato round and then put a little olive oil and then pop them in. You know what? I do not own an air fryer, Carol Jean. I have to get one of those. And then I'll do like an Amazon shoppable video on it. I've been dying to get one. I was talking about this with my wife. If you know a good brand, a good one, recommend it to me and I'll get that one. I'm dying to get one. I have to get an air fryer. What supplements do you take to complement your diet? Okay. I'll go through these periods where I'll take everything, and then sometimes I'll take very little. I'm taking very little now. Okay, I always take a multivitamin. I talked about it before. I'll take that new chapter, Men Over 50. Sometimes I'll take the Alive, which is a more synthetic, less expensive version. I always take protein powders. My two favorites are Garden of Life, that whey protein isolate. Also Garden of Life, they have a plant protein, which has all the non-essential amino acids, but it's like a vegan protein. Right now, that's all I'm taking. And then maybe some people will consider a protein bar a supplement. I'll do like those no-cal protein bars. But what I've taken in the past, and I've done this a lot. Okay, that's not true. The other things that I take beetroot powder, and I take L-citrulline. And I just did a video on this. Great. The reason why I take those two supplements too, just about every day, pretty much every day, is because they increase nitric oxide. But they use two different mechanisms. Okay, beets, similar to arugula, that's why I eat a lot of arugula and spinach and like celery juice, are naturally high in nitrates. And nitrates convert to nitric oxide within the body. Which is how it works. When you get older, nitric oxide levels go down. So what that does is that it vasodilates. It's good for like exercise performance, good for blood flow, gives you a good pump in the gym. Even good for people with like mild erectile dysfunction. It just really improves blood flow. They have higher levels of nitric oxide. So I always take beetroot powder, either as a pre-workout, or sometimes I just take the capsules. On just with my 2 meals of my protein bar, I'll take 3 capsules with it. The other thing I take is L-citrulline, which is a non-essential amino acid. And how the body works is that when you take L-citrulline, it helps the body make, like the other amino, make arginine. And then when arginine levels are high, that helps the body make nitric oxide. So I also take L-citrulline. And there's just about no calories in that. The beetroot powder, there is calories. So I'll take that with meals, like within my eating window. But the L-citrulline, I'll do that as a pre-workout. Maybe take 6 grams of it. Some people like to take L-citrulline malate. I just take L-citrulline. And sometimes I'll even do that maybe a couple times a day too. And I feel like it helps exercise performance, also helps with blood flow. So that's what I'm taking now. But in the past, some of my other favorite core supplements are, I know Carol Jean was into that, we mentioned it before, is I like those green powders, Amazing Grass, Green Vibrance, another one I really like. I think Athletic Greens is basically just dehydrated fruits and vegetables, pre-probiotics in there. I'll take that from time to time. I eat so much salmon and so much sardines and so much fish that I generally now don't take fish oil, but I think that is a good supplement to take. EPA, I mean like 1,000 milligrams of a fish oil. That's another supplement I think is a good core supplement for most people to take. You know, in the past I've taken garlic, I've taken so many things. You know, if you go to my Amazon page, like my Cola Amazon, you Google and go to my vitamins, you'll see all the supplements. And just right now I'm not doing much. So just to quickly recap, I do a protein powder, the beet powder, L-citrulline, multivitamin, and that's pretty much what I'm taking right now. But that's a good question. Thanks for asking. Okay. On my way, I would die without my air fryer. It's amazing. Yeah, I'm going to get one. I'm going to order one tonight, actually. That sounds great. That's good. All right, guys. So any more questions from this is good. We get an hour 36. I think at times we had like a lot of people in the room too, which was great. I really appreciate everyone showing up. But let me give you a couple. I know there's a little bit of delay, and I'm sorry last time, Jeff. I think you asked a question and I missed it. I know because I think you were typing. But so before I go, any other questions from anyone? And also let me know about, once again, some topics that you may want me to cover. Maybe we'll do one on more of a bodybuilding-ish type diet for next week if that's something that people are interested in. Okay, any other questions, everyone? Okay, I'm gonna go. This was great. I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed it today. Also, you know, once again, you know, tell them, you know, share my channel with anyone you think it may, you know, people might find it helpful. Give me a thumbs up. You know, try to support the channel in a way you can. I really appreciate it, and I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. And I'm looking forward to see everyone next Sunday. Thanks. Oh no, I'm sorry, I missed a question. Okay, there was a question Gwen had about nuts. Is that one? Is that what I missed? Let's see. Did you answer Gwen? Let me look for your question, Gwen. You know, I don't see that, Jeff. You know, maybe I didn't get it. Let me see. Thank you, Mike. Let me see. Okay, here's Gwen's question about nuts. Okay, so is macadamia nuts a good snack, or better to put them in salads? How many should I eat? See, I like macadamia nuts, but they are high in calories, but it's a good fat profile on a macadamia nut. I'd be a little careful with them. I think it would probably be better to maybe throw them on salads. Plus, you know, they're crazy expensive, macadamia nuts. So I would take 3 or 4, maybe break them in half, throw them in a salad. I think that probably would be better, if I had to say. Okay. I go Wise USA. I just have Go Wise USA. Okay, that's the name of the air fryer. Okay, that sounds good. Thanks, Collagen. I'll look it up on Amazon tonight. Let's see. Anyway. All right, guys, gals, thanks for showing up. Take care, and I'll see you next Sunday. Take care. Bye-bye.